What's up, everybody? As you can see, I am out here in the garage getting ready to go do some work on the property today. I'm going to be going in the back and cleaning up some of the stuff for the pool, some of the dirt and the mud, and trying to get that done. So today I want to talk a little bit about the difference that I've experienced now that I've lived in the city most of my adult life and the last 3 years in the country, and just which one I think is better, which one has its pros, and which one has its cons. One of the first crazy things is I had to go out and I had to buy a tractor because I have 20 acres, and I'm telling you, it's a lot of upkeep. And even though I didn't want to spend the money, this thing has probably saved me a few grand already just from things I've had to do around the property that I would have had to pay somebody to do it. But I love having it. I love that it's got the backhoe on it. And some of you have probably seen or checked out my RK25 videos. If you're in the market for a tractor, this is a good compact tractor. It's mid-size, so it's not the smallest, but it's not the biggest. So I would say if you have 3 to 5 acres and above, definitely should get you something like this. But the big thing I want to talk about when it comes to country versus city is one of the things I've noticed is living in the country, it seems like I work harder now than when I was living in the city. It's crazy. And even with being retired now, I'm telling you, I was just telling my wife, I work harder now than I did when I was actually working. So if you haven't seen, some of you have seen the video, so this area right here used to be all river rocks. And I ended up taking out all the rocks because my wife wanted the mulch. I know it's a little more maintenance, but it just looks a lot nicer. There were rocks here. There were rocks over here. And I got some weed growing up, and that's even with putting down fabric. You see what I mean? I put down weed fabric and it's still going up. And I put down the good stuff. I did some over here. This was all rocks. As you can see here, the rocks went all the way around it. And this is the last little section that I got to do. As you can see, I'm getting ready to, they're coming on Tuesday to pour for the pool. I still have to take this tree out. I got to get all these rocks out of here. What I've been doing is putting the rocks down by the pond, and just going to have to redo all the landscaping. Our hopes is to get a deck that goes all around this, because if you look, you can see there's the road over here, and I don't want people driving by seeing my wife and I in the pool. But again, it's just one of those things that go with living in the country. One of the points I wanted to make is living in the country, just the amount of work that this entails. Now, if this was a small property, it wouldn't be that serious. You know, I would have had this done in a week. As you know, in the city, the lots are smaller, so I would have had this done already. This would have been done. I literally have been out here working on this for a month, and I'm about to get started trying to get the rest of these rocks out of here today. And if you look over here, if you look down there, you see that big pile of dirt. Well, that's all their mess. So I'm going to get that out of here today, and then just really try to clean it up a little bit so that when the pool gets in here, we'll be ready to go. And I'm excited to get it done, but I'm not looking forward to removing this pile. I know some of you are thinking, why isn't the contractor moving it out? They're just not. But the plan is at some point to build a deck that comes up above the pool, because the pool is going to be about this high. I think the point I'm trying to make is it's just a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? So probably one of my biggest eye-opening things from going from the city to the country has been septic versus a sewer system. So those of you that live in the city usually have city water, you usually have city plumbing where everything runs through a main sewer. But when you have a septic system, you can't do that. You have to watch the crap that you flush down your toilet. You have to watch the crap that you put in your sink. You can't pour grease. All the stuff you can get away with in the city, you can't get away with out here. It's just a different ball game. That's probably been one of the biggest eye-opening things living in the country. Trying to get used to not throwing everything, flushing everything down the drain. First of all, let me say, I'm not trying to be negative. I love the home that the Lord has blessed us with. I love the property. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I'm thankful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to show you the big differences between city living versus country living. And country living is definitely a lot harder than city living. But this pond, you probably can't see it, but there's a feed in from that side and a feed in from that side, where the water that runs down 325 or this route here, street here, actually empties into our pond and works its way through. So we end up getting a lot of trash, algae, because across the street over there is a field where they plant corn, where they plant soybeans. So all the stuff that they put on that field gets washed into our pond. So you got all these nitrates, so you got all this duckweed and algae, and I'm telling you, it is a full-time job just trying to keep the pond looking nice. And if you look closely, you can kind of see all that scuzz that's sitting there. I put some chemicals in there, which I hate doing because of the fish, but you just have to be careful with it. And there's still a little bit there, but I'm hoping that it rains, so the rain will wash all that crap out of there. But again, city versus country. And this right here is probably one of my favorite things. I love having a swing. You know, my wife and I like to come out here and sit. It's just so peaceful, so relaxing, you know. But this is the one thing, if I had, so this is a huge comparison as far as city versus country. You can do this in the city, but what do you hear right now? Maybe a lawnmower way in the distance. There's a little bit of traffic, but we're so far back from the road, you don't really hear it or see it a lot. It's just peaceful, peace and quiet. I love the rolling hills. I love all the greenery. You don't get this in the city. You know, in the city, you're literally living on top of somebody most times, you know, depending on where you live at. Your houses are usually 15 to 30 feet away from your neighbor, if not just a little bit more. You know, for me, I don't care for that. You know, I like my space. And for years, living in the city, I always wanted to have some land, to have some room to do stuff. And right now, I have so much land, I'm not even sure what to do. And this is only 20 acres. I know people around here that have hundreds of acres. And I'm like overwhelmed with 20. So I can't even imagine how they deal with it. You know what I mean? Having that much land. But like I said, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for what God has blessed me with, because this is truly a blessing to be able to live here and have the peace and the quiet. Today is a beautiful day. It's probably about 70 degrees. Birds are flying, birds are chirping. I mean, I love it. So the one thing you do miss in the city, there's convenience. Like right now, the closest grocery store is about 20 minutes from me. There's a dollar store down the street, but when I lived in the city, when I lived in Arizona, you could get on the phone and call Walmart or, you know, have the stuff delivered straight to your door. My wife and I rarely ever left the house unless we were going to work. But I mean, they delivered everything. Fast food. Out here, the closest place that delivers is Domino's, and they won't even bring it to the house. The closest they'll bring it is about the parking lot right next door to the dollar store. You know what I'm saying? It's just getting used to that mindset when you've been used to having things a certain way for so long. I'm telling you, it's eye-opening to go from living in the city to living in the country. Nothing is close. When we were remodeling this house, I ended up having to go to Lowe's to buy materials and things of that nature. I'm telling you, Lowe's was almost an hour's drive away from here. So I would plan this trip, make sure I had everything on my list. I would get up early, like to get there when they opened up. I mean, it was crazy. Again, in the city, when I lived in Arizona, I literally had a Home Depot a half a block from my house. You see the difference? So I got spoiled living in the city, but it has its trade-offs. Out here, you have the peace and the quiet and the beauty. In the city, you got the smog, you got the pollution, you got the noise, the people, just all the crazy, the traffic, and the chaos that goes with living in the city. So if you look, you can see there's quite a bit of grass to cut. Most of you that know anything about cutting grass or have had to cut grass, you probably are like mouth wide open, like, oh my gosh, yes, it's a lot of grass. And believe it or not, you look over here, I got to finish cutting this little bit today, which I'm going to do here in a little bit. But living in the city, most time your yard's not very big. You know what I mean? So it takes you less than an hour to cut it. You can do your weed eating, your flowers, all that stuff, make it look real pretty. When you have this much land, it's a lot of work, because I still have that city mindset where I want my land to look beautiful from the road. You know, it's just one of my pet peeves. So living in the country, it's a lot more work. Like, how many of you can guess how long it takes me to cut this grass? Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what you think as far as how long it takes me to cut this grass. So this is about 9 or 10 acres that I have to cut. So if you look over here, this is the nice thing about having a lot of land. This is where I dump a lot of my brush, a lot of my trash and crap that I don't want. Not trash, but you know, old pieces of plastic, metal, tires, things like that. So eventually I'm going to get that haul out of here. But I have a spot over here. I have a spot down here, because everything you can see that direction is probably another 10 acres that way. Then there's another half that goes down the hill here where it comes around the other side. This barn was built in 1996. So there's good and bad with it. Since we've lived here 3 years, I have not had time as of yet to really do what I want to do in here. I want to get this wood stacked and redone. Honestly, my dream would be to have this closed off completely, to have concrete poured, to have electrical and plumbing put in here. Now, if you notice the birds flying through here, those are swallows. Right now, this is their time where they're getting their nests ready for their babies. And it drives me crazy because they think that this is their house. So there's all these little nests. Let me show you. If you look, you can see them flying around. So if you look, you can see the nest right there. You can see them still flying through here. So they come back every year and they build these little nests. There's a couple more right here being built up here. And trust me, I love nature. I don't want to, you know, hurt the birds for wanting to build their houses and all that stuff, and I get it. Because I haven't had the time yet to really focus on it like I want to seal it off, they just basically treat this like it's their home. So I'm hoping this year, once we get the pool done and everything else, that I'll have time to get in here and actually spend some time kind of cleaning it up a little bit. But this area right here, this is all trash. I know most people are thinking this old plastic can be used for something. I know one man's trash is another man's treasure. But there's some good stuff in here, but for me, it's just trash. I just got to figure out where to put it. But even while I'm standing here, you see the birds flying all around me. This is their home. It drives me crazy. But again, there's really nothing I can do about it until I can get in here and seal off all these areas. Again, city versus country. This drives me crazy, and I think part of it is because I'm from the city, so I'm not used to birds just flying willy-nilly all through your house and your property, but it is what it is, right? I'm going to go out this door here to the other side of the property here. So if you look, you can see so my property continues down this hill, and then there's another plot of land down there that's probably another 6 acres. But again, like I said earlier, it's a lot of grass to cut. But I have a pile over here that I dump a lot of brush and trees. We had a lot of heavy windstorms come through here in the last 6 months, and I've had a lot of trees on the property fall that I've had to deal with. But over here, where the previous homeowner used to stack all their bricks, there's another little area over there. That was all his stuff. So again, at some point, I want to get most of this stuff out of here. And we're slowly but surely making it our own. But I'm telling you, I think the biggest thing between city versus country is depending on how much land you have. Let me change that. The biggest difference between city versus country living with acreage is there's a lot of work involved with it. A lot of work, because you have so much more land that you have to upkeep. So again, like I said earlier, I'm not complaining. I'm thankful. It's just a lot of work. I'm just thankful that I have the ability to work. Let me show you these birds flying in and out of here, how crazy this is. So if you watch, you see them flying through here. This is basically their house until I can close it all off. You know, as you see on the other side over there, there's those open bays. I got to put doors up there. So there's some things I can do. I just have not had the time to do it. So I would have to say, if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably still move in the country, just because I love the peace and quiet, and I love the beauty of having land. And I'm telling you now, they're not making any more land. So if you don't have some land, get you some land. But I miss the convenience of living in the city, but I don't miss the chaos of the city. I miss the short commutes to and from work, or the short commutes to and from the store, and the longer commutes just to go get groceries or to go to Lowe's, as I said. Like I said, it's just a lot. So I wanted to share a little bit about my thoughts. It's about country living versus city living, now that I've actually been here for a while. And some of you may already know this, and that's fine. But I'm sure some of you that are considering moving from the city to the country, it's good information just to have in your mind to think, man, do I really want to do that? You know, because I'm telling you, if I had to do it all over again, I would probably buy about 5 acres. The irony is, we were trying to find a house with 5 acres, but we could not find it. You know, and it's funny because I had no idea about anything country. My wife laughs at me because she grew up in the country, so I thought a brush hog was an animal, when a brush hog is actually a heavy piece of equipment that you put on the back of a tractor that cuts down like your hay fields. That's another thing I forgot to mention too. That other side of the property, way over there I was telling you about, that's my hay field. And then even down here, and I have a guy that comes over and has a ton of animals, so I let him keep it cut for me, and he takes the hay for his animals, so it kind of works out for both of us. He gets free hay, and I get it cut, so I don't have to go out and buy a brush hog for my tractor, because I really don't want to deal with that. I got enough just cutting grass by itself. But anyway, that's enough for today. I've shared with you guys as far as country versus city. Hopefully you've learned something and this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that every time I post one of these crazy videos, you guys get to kind of hang with me and learn a little bit more about your boy Dave out here in rural Ohio. I love you guys. Peace.